7 psychological effects that work on anybody. The human mind, though beautifully complex and enigmatic, is sometimes just flat out weird. It encourages people to do completely illogical things, makes them believe in some nonsense, and even alters their memories. However, no decision is made out of the blue. So what drives us to do what we do? Well, a lot of the time, one of these 7 psychological effects are to blame. They have the power to control a lot of your actions, but we'll give you some tips on how not to fall under their spell. 7. The Social Facilitation Effect. Also known as the audience effect, this basically means that people tend to act differently depending on whether they're alone or in the presence of others. It's interesting that in the second case, they perform better if the task at hand is simple or familiar, and worse if they have to do something new or pretty complicated. You might slurp spaghetti like a slob when you're home alone, but try to eat more neatly and pretty when you're out with someone else. What's more, the way a person acts depends not only on their social circle, but also on the number of unwitting bystanders. So for instance, a man might offer somebody his seat on the bus just to impress an attractive woman nearby. How not to fall for this effect? Ask yourself from time to time, am I doing this simply to make somebody like or notice me, or because it's what I really want? And be honest. 6. The Hawthorne Effect. Also known as the observer effect, this phenomenon happens when people modify their behavior if they know they're being watched. When you're involved in something new and are interested in some experiment, you subconsciously act in a more eager or enthusiastic way. In this case, while the results are most likely to turn out positive, unfortunately, they're inaccurate and don't truly reflect the real situation. For example, at the supermarket, you're offered to try some new peanut butter or something and to give your thoughts on it. Right then and there, you praise this new product highly and seemingly genuinely. That's why you end up buying it. But once you get home, you realize it's nothing to write home about. It's peanut butter. How not to fall for this effect? Try to keep your mind clear and stay critical. Taking part in a questionnaire or survey doesn't automatically mean that you're supposed to give a positive review of the product just because somebody considered you an expert in this particular field. 5. The Zeigarnik Effect. This psychological effect states that people are better at remembering information or events that were left incomplete or unfinished. For example, a waiter has your order memorized until he serves it to you, and then he forgets about it and switches to other tasks. Or imagine a young woman who's especially upset by a recent breakup with her boyfriend because she'd already started, but hadn't finished, the process of planning their wedding and picking out her perfect dress. Aww. How not to fall for this effect? The best way to get something off your brain, especially if it's bugging you, is to always finish what you've started. If there's no way you can do that in real life, like our poor bride-to-be for example, then do it in your head. Imagine an alternative finale that will dot the I's and cross the T's. This will be much better than constantly torturing yourself with never-ending what-ifs. 4. The Veblen Effect. Veblen goods are those objects of luxury, the demand for which increases the higher their price goes. For anybody that knows anything about basic economics, you're probably thinking, wait, demand is supposed to increase as prices go down. Who in their right mind would want something more if it keeps getting more expensive? Well, allow me to present to you the Veblen Effect. In a nutshell, it's an economically unfounded demand for extremely expensive goods. This effect is quite common among young people whose social status is of utmost importance to them. They perceive discounted goods and sales almost as if they're flawed or icky. How not to fall for this effect? If you're a slave to the constant new release of some phone or luxury bag or whatever, then you've already fallen into this trap. Every time you buy something really expensive, try to be honest with yourself and ask, am I paying for the quality or the oohs and ahs of people around me? 3. The Pratfall Effect. According to this effect, people who make silly mistakes or even sometimes look funny seem more attractive and charming. Perfection, in turn, keeps other people at arm's length and even irritates them. However, there's one important thing to take into consideration here. This effect is true only for those people who usually perform well. If a highly competent person makes a slip, people start to like them even more. On the other hand, if a mistake is made by someone who's considered a constant klutz or incompetent, the reaction is negative. How to use this effect to your advantage. Don't be afraid to look clumsy or do something stupid. In fact, this will only make you cuter and more relatable. These kinds of people seem more approachable than those who strut down the street like royalty. 2. The Spotlight Effect. This phenomenon makes people believe that others notice them more than they really do. It's exactly this psychological effect that makes you feel paranoid, like everybody's looking at you and judging you for all your mistakes or flaws. If a girl has forgotten to apply mascara to one eye, she'll be 100% sure that every passing stranger has noticed this and is mentally roasting her for her absent-mindedness. If you think about the fundamental idea of this effect, it's crystal clear. Every person feels that they're the center of their own world, so it's natural for everybody to believe that other people deem them extremely important as well. A team of scientists from Cornell University asked a group of people to put on t-shirts with silly prints and to guess how many strangers would notice it. In the end, their estimation turned out to be 2 times higher than the real number of people who had paid attention to the foolish t-shirts. How not to fall for this effect? Not nearly as many people as you think actually notice your mishaps because they're all too busy worrying about themselves. If you have a coffee stain on your shirt or a big zit on your cheek, don't focus on it so much. After all, do you pay much attention to those around you? I'd say no, not really. 1. The Bystander Effect. Also called bystander apathy, this one is the most important item on our list, hence why it's at the top. This effect says that people are less likely to provide help to a victim if there are others present, and the more people there are, the less likely someone is going to reach out a helping hand. If there are a lot of people gathered in one place and someone needs assistance, each of them believes that somebody else will come to the rescue, so nobody helps. How to prevent this from happening to you? If you suddenly feel unwell in a public place and you need help ASAP, don't address the whole crowd by shouting help or call 911. Choose one specific person. This way, you'll have better chances of being heard and getting the help that you need. Have you ever observed or participated in situations where these psychological effects came into play? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay on the bright side of life.